Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this lovely day. It's been like working in a hot yoga since 10 o'clock this morning, but I'm still standing. It's getting hot in here. I know I've sung all the songs today. Anyway, I wanted to talk for a quick second about nerves, as in you're getting on my, no, I'm just kidding, about nerves, because a lot of people don't seem to understand how nerves actually work. And so some interesting things popped up today. One of those being, I was on my way to get my coffee before work this morning, and I was like, what is going on? And so on the side of my finger, it was like itching like mad. I mean, like crazy itch. And I was like, good Lord, what? And then it suddenly dawned on me, oh yeah, that's exactly where Sherman sliced through my finger. Now, poor little pup, she didn't mean to do it. I was going, treat, 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 you know, and I was holding the drink. Now be a good girl and sit down. And she jumped up for that treat, and her little razor sharp tooth like sliced my finger. And it was weird. It like bled for like 4 hours. You know, it was like the tiniest little wound. It's only a flesh wound. And it bled for like 4 straight hours. But anyway, so this is like almost 2 months ago. And so I've had no really little feeling there. And, you know, which that's not unusual because I have lots of little spots in my body from nerve damage from the accident and all this. And so I'm totally used to not being able to feel certain areas of my body. But anyway, I'm like, this is itching like crazy. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. That's where Sherman sliced me. So all of a sudden I was like, the itch. This is brilliant because, you know, yeah, it might be driving you crazy, the itch, but the itch is a sensation. And from having no sensation from where she sliced through and obviously did a little damage to the nerve endings there, they're starting to come to life again, and nearly 2 months later. And so that's really cool. And then that brings me to something that happened a couple of weeks ago. I was moving Jada from Dublin to home, and she had this full-length mirror, and one of the bags of clothes shifted in transit, and I reached in the dark to grab something, and the mirror had broken like into a really sharp piece. And so I was like, and it went straight into my hand here. And it's a little tiny spot. And y'all, it hurt like a mother. And I mean, it bled for Ireland. I mean, it's tiny, right? So I have not for 3 weeks been able to even touch that. Whereas here, after that wound happened, I had no feeling at all because of the damage. This pierced in, and I think it did a little bit of ligament damage because I was having some difficulty moving that finger. But it's really funny because as this has been healing up, my indication that it's getting better is the pain's actually going away. Where in this wound, I had no feeling at all, and the nerve endings have started to itch, which means things are starting to clear up. And so I had a lady who was in today, and she was talking to me about something, and she had the exact same injury that someone previous to her had, only that person crawled in the door, and she walked in and she was like, I've got the weirdest pins and needle things going on. You know, it's just like, doesn't hurt. I'm not really, you know, it's just weird. She goes, it feels like pins and needles. And I'm like, okay. She had sciatica the exact same way that the person before her had, who was in tremendous pain, had. And then it really dawned on me. She was like, really? That's compression from my L5 disc? What? And I was like, yeah, it's not always about pain. And this is why chiropractors are always banging on about, please go get your spine checked, regardless of whether you're in pain. Go because you're not in pain. Go because you know that nerves are really funny little things think of the 3 Ps. So think pleasure, pain, and power. So remember, a nerve, like my brain is telling my arm to move, and I'm like, yay, go me, and now my arm is moving, right? And so that's the power to the arm. Where I got sliced here and where that mirror pierced me here, that was pain, right? And you could get a massage, and oh my gosh, it feels so good, and that's pleasure. And so think of that when you're thinking of nerve function, because we get so channeled into being bombarded with the idea that pain, take this painkiller, take this anti-inflammatory, pain. And we forget that our nerves are doing so many other things. So when one becomes conditioned, accustomed, sheepled into the idea that the only time something is wrong is when somebody is in pain, it teaches someone to only do something about something when they're in pain. And that's kind of the same logic as taking your car to the mechanic after it's broken down. Or like that check engine light comes on and it's annoying you when that little red light is on, so you stick a piece of tape over it. Like, you'd never, ever do that, you know? You'd see the check engine light. It gives you, hey, something's up. The car might not be breaking down. You might not be on the side of the road, but the check engine light is that first little indication, that little tingle, those pins and needles, that's letting you know, hey, something's up here. And so this is why it's so important to go to the chiropractor to get a checkup when you're good. Do you know? Because sometimes when you think you're good, there could be something going on behind the scenes that has yet to register as pain, as pleasure, or interfering with your power to wherever that nerve is going. So I just wanted to have a little chat about that, because it really struck me how many people don't really realize how that works. And you know what? I absolutely love this method of communication, because it's so fun, because every time something comes up, me and my little ADD head are like, I'm video, okay, I'm doing it. So even though I'm gross and hot and sweaty and I've been working for 8 straight hours in this incredible heat, I still couldn't wait to tell you about PPP, pleasure, pain, and power, and the effect that those have on your everyday life and your nervous system. So, do a little scan, check through, and gosh, I wonder if I'm a candidate to go to the chiropractor. Everyone is a candidate to go and have their spine checked. And as we move forward and the allopathic system continues to collapse, you're going to want to take better care of yourself before things happen. You're going to want to start talking to people who know a little bit about life, health, and well-being outside of the conditioning of allopathic medicine. Now, am I knocking it? No, I mean, it's not for everybody. It's just not for me. It was meant to be used for emergency, and we now use it for everyday care. That's my beef with it, and I'm sticking to it. So that's your little education about nerves today, and I hope you have a glorious evening and a spine-tingling, fabulous next few days in this gorgeous weather. Peace out, y'all.